The Starshelter space station was huge and busy. Many different alien races lived there. It was a place where people from many planets came to trade, work, and live. But not everyone was welcome. Some creatures were feared and hated by most. One of these was the vampire race. They were seen as dangerous and strange. Most people did not trust them. Many wanted to keep them far away. In one small room of the Starshelter, Ethan stood alone. He was a human, tall and calm, with eyes that seemed to see more than others. He had come to Starshelter with a purpose. Today was the day he would do something few dared to try. He was going to adopt a vampire child, the most hated vampire kid. In the whole station, Ethan had heard many stories about this girl. Her name was Lyra. She was small and quiet, with pale skin and eyes that glowed faintly in the dark. The other children in Starshelter feared her. Adults whispered bad things about her. They said she was a danger and should be locked away. But Ethan did not believe those stories. He believed everyone deserved a chance. When Ethan first met Lyra, she was sitting alone in a cold corner of the orphan ward. Her thin body shivered, not just from the cold, but from fear and sadness. Ethan knelt down slowly so she would not be scared. "Hi, Lyra," he said gently. "My name is Ethan. I'm here for you." Lyra looked at him with wide eyes. She did not speak. No one had ever come for her before. No one had shown her kindness. Ethan smiled softly and held out his hand. "Would you like to come with me?" After a long moment, Lyra slowly took his hand. The small touch was filled with hope and fear. Ethan helped her to stand. She was weak but moved with quiet grace. People in the ward watched them with surprise, and some with anger. Ethan knew this would not be easy. As they left the orphan ward, whispers followed them. "Why would a human want a vampire?" some said. "She will bring trouble." Others just stared with fear. Ethan did not answer. He only looked at Lyra and felt a strong wish to protect her. They walked through the busy halls of Starshelter. Strange sounds and flashing lights filled the air. Lyra held Ethan's hand tightly. She felt safer than she had in a long time. Ethan led her to a small apartment he had prepared. It was warm and quiet. The walls were soft blue, and there was a small window that showed the stars outside. Lyra looked around slowly. She saw a soft bed, a few books, and a small table with fresh food. Ethan smiled. "This is your home now, Lyra. You don't have to be afraid." Lyra did not say much. She sat by the window and watched the stars. Ethan sat next to her. "I know people don't like vampires here. I don't care about what others think. I want to help you live a good life." Lyra looked at him for the first time and saw kindness. In his eyes, she felt something she had never felt before. Hope. The next days were not easy. Many neighbors avoided Ethan and Lyra. Some sent angry messages or shouted mean words. The leaders of Starshelter called Ethan to ask why he brought a vampire into the station. They warned him it could cause problems. Ethan stood firm. "Lyra is just a child. She deserves to be safe. I will take care of her." Lyra began to explore her new home. She found books about the stars, plants, and even stories about humans. Ethan helped her read and learn. Sometimes she would practice walking in the sunlight by the window. It was hard for her, but Ethan was patient. Slowly, Lyra began to smile. She tried to speak more. One day she said, "Thank you, Ethan." It was the first time she used words like that. Ethan's heart felt full. One afternoon, Ethan took Lyra to the market area of Starshelter. He wanted her to see the world outside their apartment. They moved carefully through the crowds. Some people stared and whispered, but Ethan held Lyra's hand tightly. At one stall, a small alien child dropped a toy. Lyra quickly picked it up and gave it back. The child looked surprised but smiled. Ethan saw that small smile and felt proud. But not everyone was kind. Some still shouted, "Vampire, stay away." Ethan stayed close to Lyra and told her, "Ignore them. You are safe with me." That night, Lyra told Ethan about her past. She had lived in the dark tunnels under Starshelter. No one cared for her there. She was hungry and alone. She did not understand why people hated her just because she was a vampire. Ethan listened and promised, I will never let you be alone again. We will face this together." Days turned into weeks. Ethan and Lyra grew closer. Lyra's strange powers sometimes scared her. She could hear sounds far away and move very fast. Ethan helped her control these powers. He taught her to use them, only for good. Some neighbors started to change. A few smiled and waved when they saw Lyra. One old merchant gave her a small flower. Ethan knew the hardest work was still ahead, but he believed love could change hearts. One evening, a group of Starshelter leaders visited Ethan's apartment. They wanted to speak with Lyra. Ethan was nervous, but stood tall. Lyra looked calm but ready. The leaders asked many questions about Lyra's nature and her safety in the station. Ethan answered with honesty and courage. He told them Lyra was kind and brave, not a danger. After a long talk, one leader said, "Maybe we judged too fast. We will watch and see." Ethan smiled, knowing this was a small victory. That night, Lyra looked at the stars and whispered, "Thank you, Ethan." He smiled back. "You are not alone anymore." Even in the darkest corners of Starshelter, a new light was growing, the light of hope, kindness, and a new family. Ethan had taken a risk, but he knew in his heart it was worth it. After the leaders of Starshelter showed some signs of softening, Ethan hoped things would get easier for Lyra. But the truth was, life for a vampire child in Starshelter was still full of challenges. Many people still feared her, and many still kept their distance. But Ethan and Lyra faced those challenges together. Lyra was curious about the world outside their apartment. She wanted to learn and grow, but she also knew that people watched her closely. She often felt the eyes of others on her skin, cold and full of judgment. Sometimes she would hide behind Ethan. Feeling small and alone, even in a crowd, Ethan noticed her fear and decided to help in his own way. He found a small school in Starshelter, where children from many species learned together. It was a place that welcomed differences. Ethan enrolled Lyra there. The teachers were cautious but willing to try. On her first day, Lyra felt nervous. The other children stared at her pale skin in quiet ways. Some whispered behind her back. Ethan walked her to class and gave her a warm smile. "You will be okay," he said softly. In the classroom, Lyra listened carefully. She was very smart and learned quickly, but making friends was hard. She missed the warmth of a kind word or a simple smile. The teacher, a gentle alien named Miri, noticed Lyra's loneliness. She often sat near her and helped her with lessons. One day, during recess, a small group of children dared to approach Lyra. Their leader was a young alien boy named Yarrow. He looked at Lyra with curiosity, not fear. "Why are you so quiet?" he asked. Lyra looked down. "'Cause I don't want to cause trouble," she whispered. Jaira smiled. "You don't have to be afraid here. I want to be your friend." The others in the group nodded. Slowly, Lyra began to feel something new. Friendship. Back at home, Ethan was proud, but knew the road ahead was still rough. He helped Lyra practice, talking and playing. He told her stories about humans and other species. Lyra loved hearing about places she had never seen. But outside the school, not all was well. Some adults still spread fear about vampires. A few stations' gangs whispered threats. Lyra's vampire nature made her a target. One evening, Ethan returned home to find Lyra scared and trembling. She told him a group of older aliens had shouted at her, calling her names and warning her to leave Starshelter. Ethan's heart burned with anger, but he kept calm. He hugged Lyra tightly. "They don't know you. They only fear what they don't understand." Lyra looked up, tears in her eyes. "Will they ever stop hating me?" Ethan held her hand firmly. "We will show them that. You are not their enemy." In the days that followed, Ethan worked to protect Lyra. He spoke to the leaders again, asking for more security. Starshelter agreed to increase patrols near the school and their home. Lyra's confidence began to grow. She started to join more activities. She learned to control her vampire powers better. One day, she saved a young alien girl who had fallen while climbing a tree. She used her speed and strength to catch the girl before she hit the ground. The news spread quietly. Some people started to see Lyra differently. She was no longer just The vampire girl. She was a brave child who helped others. Ethan watched all this with hope. He knew Lyra's kindness could change many hearts, but it would take time. One afternoon, Ethan took Lyra to the market again. This time, they walked without fear. People still stared, but some smiled and greeted them. At a small food stall, a merchant named Selly gave Lyra a fresh fruit. "For being so brave," she said kindly. Lyra single quotes eyes lit up. She thanked Seely. Shyly as they walked away, Ethan said, "See? The world can be kind." Lyra smiled. "I want to be kind too." One night, Lyra asked Ethan about her vampire past. She said, "Why did my parents leave me?" Ethan was quiet for a moment. "Sometimes people are scared of those who are different. Your parents wanted to keep you safe, even if it meant leaving you." Lyra's eyes filled with sadness. "I want to find them someday." Ethan nodded. "And when you are ready, we will help you." Life in Starshelter was changing slowly. Lyra's story spread, inspiring others to look past fear. Some families with strange or feared children reached out to Ethan, hoping he could help, but not all. Change was easy. One day, a powerful gang leader named Corv sent a warning to Ethan. He said Lyra was a threat to Starshelter's peace, and that Ethan should give her up or face consequences. Ethan did not back down. He told Corv, "Lyra is my family. No threat will take her away." Corv laughed but left them alone for now. Ethan knew this was only the beginning. As weeks passed, Lyra trained with Ethan and a small group of trusted friends. She learned to control her powers and to protect those she cared about. Her strength grew, but so did her heart. One evening, as Starshelter's many lights shone outside their window, Ethan looked at Lyra and said, "You have changed so much. Not just yourself, but everyone around you." Lyra smiled softly, "Because you believed in me." Ethan reached out and held her hand, "And I always will." In Starshelter, the most hated vampire kid was slowly becoming the most loved. Her journey was just beginning, and what she would do next would change everything for Ethan, for Starshelter, and for the galaxy. Starshelter was usually a busy place full of trade and life, but beneath the surface, danger lurked. A gang of fierce aliens called the Wrather wanted to control parts of the station. They spread fear and violence. When they learned about Lyra, the vampire girl, they saw an opportunity. The Wrather knew many feared vampires. They thought if they could make Lyra a symbol of danger, the people would turn against Ethan and Lyra. This would make it easier for the gang to take control. One night, as Starshelter slept, Lyra heard strange noises outside her window. She stood quietly, her senses sharp. Ethan was away on a meeting, so she was alone. Suddenly she saw shadows moving near their apartment. The Wrather gang had come. Lyra felt fear but also determination. She was not just a scared child anymore. She moved silently through the dark halls, using her speed and strength to stay hidden. The gang broke into the building. They shouted threats, trying to scare the neighbors. Lyra watched from the shadows as they searched for her and Ethan. Using her keen senses, Lyra found a way to warn the others. She sent a quick message to Ethan's device. "Wrather here." She whispered. Ethan was shocked when he heard Lyra's voice. He rushed back to the apartment with the help of station guards. Lyra waited, ready to protect their home. When Ethan arrived, they prepared to face the danger together. The Wrather gang burst into the apartment. Lyra stood in front of Ethan, showing no fear. The gang laughed and said, "This vampire girl thinks she can fight us?" Lyra's eyes glowed brighter. She moved faster than any alien had ever seen. With strength and skill, she fought the gang. Ethan and the guards joined in, and together, they pushed the gang back. The battle was fierce, but short. The Wrather were no match for Lyra's power and Ethan's courage. The gang fled into the shadows of Starshelter. After the fight, the neighbors came out to see what had happened. They saw Lyra standing strong and brave. Their fear began to change into respect. Ethan looked at Lyra with pride. "Saved us all," he said. Lyra smiled but was tired. She never wanted to fight, but she would protect those she loved. The leaders. of Starshelter called Ethan again. This time their tone was different. They wanted to thank Lyra and Ethan for stopping the Rather gang. They admitted they had judged Lyra too quickly. One leader said, "You have shown us that strength and courage come in many forms. Starshelter is safer because of you." Lyra felt a warmth inside. For the first time, she was not just a feared vampire. She was a hero. But Lyra knew the fight was not over. The Rather gang would return, and the station still had many who feared vampires. Ethan and Lyra decided to train harder. They worked with a small team of friends to prepare for any future threats. Lyra's powers grew stronger, and she learned to use them wisely at school. Lyra became more confident. She helped other children when they were in trouble. Her friends grew, and many began to see her as a leader. One day, a new student arrived at school, a young alien warrior named Kale. He was strong and skilled, and he quickly became Lyra's close friend and protector. Kale admired Lyra's bravery and kindness. Together, they planned to make Starshelter a better place for all. One evening, Ethan sat with Lyra and Kale. He told them stories of old human heroes who stood against great dangers. Lyra listened carefully, inspired to be like them. The three of them formed a strong bond. They knew that together they could face anything. As the days passed, Starshelter slowly changed. More people accepted Lyra and her friends. Some began to speak openly about ending the fear and hate that had lasted for so long. Lyra often thought about her past. She remembered the dark tunnels and loneliness. But now with Ethan and her new friends, she felt hope. One night she looked at Ethan and said, "Thank you for believing in me. I want to help others like me." Ethan smiled. "We will do it together." The story of Lyra, the most hated vampire kid, was no longer just about fear. It was about courage, friendship, and change. And Lyra was ready for whatever came next. The threat from the Rather gang made Starshelter nervous. Rumors spread that the gang was planning a bigger attack to take full control of the station. Ethan, Lyra, and their friends knew they had to act fast to protect their home. Lyra had trained hard. She was faster, stronger, and smarter than before. But she also knew she needed help. Ethan helped her gather a small group of trusted allies from different alien races. Some were soldiers, some were engineers, and others were ordinary citizens who wanted peace. Among the group was Kale, the young alien warrior who had become Lyra's close friend. Kale was brave and skilled in battle. Together, they made plans to defend Starshelter and stop the Rather gang. One evening, the Starshelter's lights glowed in the vast darkness of space. The Rather gang launched their attack. They moved quickly and violently, trying to take key parts of the station. The people of Starshelter were scared. Many ran for safety, but Ethan, Lyra, and their group stood firm. Lyra took the lead, using her vampire speed and strength to stop the gang's fighters one by one. Her movements were swift and precise. She protected the innocent and fought without mercy against those who wished harm. Ethan coordinated with the station guards and engineers. They worked to lock down important areas and cut off the gang's escape routes. Kale fought alongside Lyra. Their teamwork was perfect. Kale's powerful strikes and Lyra's quick attacks made them a force to be reckoned with. As the battle raged on, Lyra noticed a group of Rather soldiers trying to sneak into the control center. She raced ahead to stop them. In the control center, Lyra found the gang's leader, Corv. He was larger and stronger than most, but Lyra did not back down. Kaor laughed. "You think a vampire girl can stop me?" Lyra's eyes glowed fiercely. "I don't just think it, I will." The fight was fierce. Corv was strong, but Lyra's speed and courage gave her the edge. With one final move, she knocked Corv down and tied him up with energy cuffs made by the station engineers. The Rather gang's attack failed. The people of Starshelter cheered for Lyra and her friends. They saw that the feared vampire girl was their hero. The leaders of Starshelter praised Ethan and Lyra, and said, "You saved our home. Starshelter owes you its thanks." Lyra felt proud, but also tired. She had fought not just for herself, but for all who believed in peace. After the battle, Starshelter began to change faster. Many who had once feared vampires now saw them as protectors. Lyra's story inspired hope. At school, Lyra was no longer the shy, scared girl. She was a leader. She helped students solve problems and stood up against bullies. Ethan watched with pride. He saw how far Lyra had come from the lonely child he first met. One day, Lyra spoke at a station gathering. She told everyone about kindness, courage, and understanding. She asked the people to look past fear and see the good in others. Her words touched many hearts as time passed. Lyra and Ethan helped create a place in Starshelter where different races could learn and live together peacefully. They called it the Unity Hall. The Unity Hall became a symbol of change and hope. One quiet night, Lyra looked at the stars outside her window. She thought about her journey and the future. Ethan came to sit beside her. "You have done something amazing here." Lyra smiled softly. "It was not just me. It was us. And it will keep growing." Ethan nodded. "And no matter what happens, I will always be with you." Lyra felt a warm light inside her, the light of family, friendship, new beginnings. The most hated vampire kid in Starshelter had become the strongest symbol of hope, and together it would face whatever the galaxy brought next. Starshelter was quiet now, but Ethan and Lyra knew peace was fragile. The station had many secrets, and not all of them were good. After the Wrather gang's defeat, new challenges appeared. One day, a mysterious message came to Ethan's device. It was a warning from a distant part of the galaxy. An old enemy of Lyra's vampire kind was coming, a group called the Shadow Hunters. They were hunters who wanted to capture or destroy any vampire they found. Ethan felt a cold chill. He knew Lyra's safety was at risk again. He told Lyra the news. She looked serious but calm. "We have faced danger before. We'll face this too." The Shadow Hunters arrived near Starshelter quickly. They sent scout ships to spy and prepare for an attack. Ethan, Lyra, Kale, and their friends worked fast. They set up defenses and planned how to protect the station and its people. Lyra trained harder than ever. She wanted to be ready to fight not only for herself, but for everyone she cared about. One night, the Shadow Hunters launched a surprise attack. Their ships fired powerful weapons at Starshelter's shields. Alarms blared throughout the station. The people of Starshelter panicked, but Ethan and Lyra stayed calm. They led the defense. In the chaos, Lyra used her powers to move through the station quickly. She helped protect civilians and stopped fires from spreading. Kale fought bravely alongside her. Ethan coordinated with the station's command center. To keep the shields up, the battle lasted long into the night. The Shadow Hunters were skilled, but Starshelter's defenders would not give up. Lyra found herself face to face with a Shadow Hunter warrior. The warrior was strong and fast, but Lyra's courage and speed were greater. Their fight was fierce and fast. Lyra dodged attacks and used her strength to defend herself. With one strong move, she defeated the warrior and warned others to retreat. Shadow Hunters realized Starshelter was not an easy target. They withdrew, leaving the station battered but safe. After the battle, the people of Starshelter celebrated. Lyra was praised again for her bravery. She had saved many lives. Ethan looked at Lyra and said, "You have grown into a true protector." Lyra smiled, but felt the weight of the battles. She knew the galaxy was not safe for vampires yet, but she also believed in the power of hope. In the days that followed, Ethan and Lyra worked to build stronger alliances with other alien groups. They wanted Starshelter to be a place where all could live without fear. The Unity Hall grew in importance. It became a center for learning, peace talks, and friendship. Lyra often spoke there, sharing her story and encouraging others to overcome fear. One afternoon, a young alien girl came to the hall. She was shy and scared. Lyra recognized the fear. In her eyes, the same fear she once felt. Lyra took the girl's hand gently. "You are not alone," she said softly. The girl smiled for the first time. Ethan watched this and felt proud. He knew the real change was happening in hearts and minds. As Starshelter grew stronger, Lyra and Ethan faced new choices. Lyra wanted to find her family, those who had left her long ago. Ethan wanted to help her heal the past. They planned a journey beyond Starshelter to the unknown parts of the galaxy. Before they left, Lyra looked at Ethan and said, "Thank you for saving me." "For believing in me?" Ethan smiled. "You saved me too, Lyra. You changed everything." With hope and courage, they prepared for the next chapter of their story, the most hated vampire. Kid was now a symbol of strength and love, a reminder that even in the darkest places, light can grow, and together. Ethan and Lyra would face the stars, ready for whatever came next. Would you like me to write part 6, the final part? Ethan and Lyra prepared for their journey beyond Starshelter. They wanted to find Lyra's family and learn more about her vampire past. Many in Starshelter wished them well, seeing how far Lyra had come. Before leaving, Lyra visited the Unity Hall one last time. She stood before a group of children from many species. Her voice was calm but strong as she spoke about courage, kindness, and hope. "No matter where we come from," she said, "we can all find family and friendship." The crowd cheered. Lyra smiled, feeling proud and ready for the next chapter. Ethan and Lyra boarded a small ship built for long travel. Kale and a few trusted friends helped prepare it. As the ship left Starshelter's orbit, Ethan looked at Lyra. "Are you ready?" Lyra nodded. "I am ready." Their journey took them through strange star systems and quiet nebulae. They faced new challenges: meteor storms, strange creatures, and mysterious signals. But together, they were strong. One day, their ship received a signal from a distant planet. The message was faint but clear. It was from Lyra's family. The planet was dark and covered in thick forests. As they landed, Lyra's heart raced. Memories of loneliness and fear mixed with hope and courage. They were greeted by a group of vampires, tall, proud, and cautious. Lyra stepped forward and spoke gently. "I am Lyra. I was lost, but I am here now." Her family looked at her with surprise and emotion. They had believed she was gone forever. Slowly, Lyra's family listened to her story about Ethan's kindness, the battles in Starshelter, and her desire for peace. Some family members were still wary, but others saw the change in Lyra. They began to understand her new life and the friends she had made. Ethan stood beside Lyra, ready to support her. Over time, Lyra helped her family see a different way, one not ruled by fear or old grudges, but by hope and understanding. She shared stories of Starshelter's unity, Hall, and the friendships she had built. Her family began to open their hearts, and a new bond grew between them. Ethan watched this with quiet joy. He knew that Lyra had not only found her family, but it also helped heal old wounds as they prepared to leave the planet. Lyra's family gave her a gift, a small pendant that glowed softly with ancient light. It was a symbol of protection and new beginnings. Lyra held it close, feeling the love and acceptance she had longed for. On the way back to Starshelter, Ethan and Lyra talked about their future. "We have changed many lives," Ethan said. "And there is more to do," Lyra replied. They planned to return to Starshelter and continue building peace between all races. Their story had started with fear and hatred, but had become one of courage, friendship, and change. Ethan and Lyra knew the galaxy was still full of challenges, but they were ready to face them together. As their ship sailed through the endless stars, Lyra looked out at the vast sky. She whispered, "Thank you, Ethan, for believing in me." Ethan smiled. "Thank you for showing me what family really means." Their journey was far from over, but one thing was clear: the most hated vampire kid in Starshelter had changed everything. And together, they would change the galaxy.